Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to double-digit episode number 10 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis Dahl from Summer Dental Laboratories in Zionsville, Indiana.
Hey guys, I'm Barbara Wojan from Oldsmar, Florida, Night Dental.
Barb, how the heck are you today?
I'm very good. Thank God it's Friday. I'm just sad that I didn't get to join you in the podcast and interview Lonni because I respect the heck out of her and think she's amazing. And I can't wait for this episode.
Yeah, you had something going on, something about you running a lab or something. I don't know. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, no, that's the easy stuff.
So when I first came up with the idea for this podcast, when it was brewing in my brain, I went to Chicago Lab Day and I started asking people who would be interested in being interviewed. I kind of started putting seeds everywhere. And I was lucky enough that I participated in the component meeting as a board member of the NADL. And Lonni was there representing the Ohio Lab Association. And then when she started...
Yep, I remember that well.
Okay, yeah. When she started talking about what she's doing in Ohio, I knew she was someone I had to get on the podcast. And she might have been the second, third person I asked to be interviewed. She's super cool and she agreed to do it. And what she's done with our industry, both nationally and locally in her state, it's amazing. And she's got a great story to tell. I hope you guys all enjoy it.
Here we go.
Voices from the Bench. The interview. Greetings and welcome to an interview we have today with someone who's got a lot to say regarding our industry and things that are progressing forward. I'd like to welcome Lonni Thompson. How are you today, Lonni?
I'm excellent, Elvis. How are you?
I am doing actually swell. It's one better than well. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I know you have a lot going on. You were recently named in JDT's January 2018 magazine of Who's Hot in 2018. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Tell me, how did you get into the dental lab industry? What started it all?
Well, that's a story. I started 45 years ago.
Which is amazing since you're in your early 30s. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was a child prodigy.
Yeah.
But I came from a family of 4 girls. We were all just a year apart. And my father encouraged us all to get into the health field because he wanted us to be able to support ourselves. I was the artsy, different one in the family, as they would like to say. And my dad actually found the school for me, which I'm from Newark, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes due east of Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And so he found the school for me. And back then it was Columbus Technical Institute, which is now Columbus State. And they had a dental technology program. And it was kind of interesting. It was in the basement of an old high school.
Really?
Yeah, it was not what I had intended with my life at the time. I started at 17 years old. There was very few women and it was all guys. And it was interesting. I didn't think I would stay in the field at the time. My second year, I really caught on and it really worked for me. And then I was chosen out of my class to get a job at Ohio State University, which was a real coup because then I could continue my education. I was able to get my bachelor's that way.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because if you go to school there, I mean, again, my dad had 4 kids. It was hard to put 4 kids through college, right? I
Sure.
came my way. But he was a great dad. So I worked at Ohio State University for 5 years, which was another interesting situation, again, being the only woman there. And, it was a great job, but the sexual harassment, as you can imagine, was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But they put me through, yeah. Well, that's a whole nother story. But they put me through everything. So I was very lucky to have that job, and I wasn't going to let anything take that away from me.
So the job was in the dental lab school?
Yes, right. So we did work for the students.
For the dental students. I see. Yeah.
for the dental students. And as after I got my bachelor's, then I went up on the floor and I actually taught up there for a period of time. It really taught me a lot of things.
Sure.
But it was all guys in the lab, and then they had labs on the side, so I worked for them in the evenings also. And then one day I'm like, well, why am I doing this for $5 a tooth when I can start a lab? So I started a lab on the side too. And then I had 3 dentists come to me that I started working for, and they said, you need to quit Ohio State and do this on your own. And at the time, I was just shy of being 25 years old. And I'm like, sure,
Wow.
why not? So, yeah. So the 4 of us became partners.
You and the 3 dentists.
Myself and 3 dentists, yes.
Okay.
And then 8 years later, I bought them out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's Image Gallery?
Well, at the time, it was LT Ceramic Studio. And then after a while, I decided to change it to Image Gallery because I think I wanted my name out of it. I wanted to promote my whole staff, because I was building my staff up. I want them to be as important as I am. And so then we changed it to Image Gallery because I think when we make your teeth, we change your image.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So after you bought out the dentist, was it already set in the style that you wanted to run the lab, or did you change a lot?
No, it was, I just continued on. I mean, then they knew that I needed to do this on my own. So at the time, I mean, I've always I started by myself, obviously, and then started gaining employees. But I have pretty much been a 6-person laboratory throughout.
So you started by yourself and now you're currently at 6?
Correct.
How many of them are CDTs?
Well, I'm proud to announce one just received their CDT, and today we're going to lunch. And actually, I have a little surprise for them. I've bought them all new lab coats that are really snazzy, like my orange one that you saw. Only theirs is white, and they'll have their CDT patch on. So I have 3 CDTs and 1 RG.
That's amazing for 6 technicians.
Yeah, most of the people that have worked for me have been here for quite some time. My goal is to sell the laboratory to them. I've been in it. I've owned this lab for 39 years. Next year will be my 40th. So, I mean, I'm going to work probably 5 to 6 more years, but I eventually want them to have the same capabilities that I had.
Well, that's excellent. I mean, I'm glad to see you passing the lab over to employees rather than corporate that we see so often these days.
Yeah, that's important to me. We do a lot of complicated cases. We're a boutique lab, so I would like to see that continue.
Do you still get work from the dentists you're partners with?
Yes. Unfortunately, just recently, one of them passed away, and it's very sad, but I'm still very close to it. Yeah, I'm close to his widow, but the office sends me work, and the other 2 have retired.
But they kept up sending you work after the split of ownership of the lab, right?
Yeah, it was all pathetic, yes.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah. So back to the subject of CDTs. I know that you are a very proud CDT. And I've always wondered, because most people become CDTs in order to promote themselves and to hopefully gain a higher salary. But being an owner, what motivates you to keep your CDT?
Well, we're in a very changing technology world, and I feel the laboratory has always been on the cutting edge. And in order to keep on the cutting edge, you need to have, continuing education, and you need to, keep up with what's happening out there. I always think it's important that we need to upgrade ourselves. That's since the beginning. I've always wanted to do that since I was in the basement of that Aquinas High School.
Never stop learning.
I always wanted a little more glamorous life. And my lab kind of looks like an art studio. So yeah, I think it's really important to stay connected and, have the camaraderie with, all the other people in our field, but keep the education moving forward. I think last year we did about 90 continuing education.
You need 90 hours?
I need a life. No, I have a great life. Yeah, but I'm in Seattle clubs and a couple of Seattle clubs and then the AACD and but it is what it is.
No, I hear you.
I love what I do.
I probably, if I collected continuing education, I'd probably be up there, but I'm not a CDT. So do you put on any of the study clubs yourself, or you just participate in them?
I do some of the study clubs. I'm the only lab that's been invited to most of them. And so they rely on me for what's happening in the laboratory. And so we have different topics where I'll be presenting. So It's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've all become, I've been in one of them for 11 years now. So everyone's good friends. So it's great.
Yeah, it really does add a level of partnership with people you're in the club with.
And that's how I gain business. I don't have to do as much advertising and marketing.
Do you do any?
Of course, we want to keep the younger dentists coming in. Most of my marketing is going places like Ohio State University. I'm down there a lot to help the students there. I mean, I actually went back in 1989 and taught the advanced prosthodontic class down there. I think that marketing works for me. I don't like cold calling as much. I mean, but everybody has to do what they have to do to get, make sure that you
Absolutely.
stay busy.
Absolutely. So this year, and myself included, we're both on the NADL, the National Association Dental Laboratories. Why have you volunteered? Is this your first board?
For the NADL?
Yeah, but have you done the foundation or the NBC or any of those?
I was a delegate way back when we had it was a completely different format for NADL. So I was a delegate for.
Yeah,
it was great fun.
That's what I hear.
It was. I mean, the group down in Texas wanted to adopt me. It was great.
Wow.
But yeah, so I did that for about 8 years. And then I ran the membership committee, and way back then, we started a public awareness campaign. So I've known for a very long time.
Really?
Yeah, that the word needs to get out to the public in order for us to upgrade.
Absolutely. True believer in that. So why did you join the NADL board?
Couple things. I believe in giving back. I've been on a lot of boards in my life, community boards here in Columbus also. I was actually president of Planned Parenthood for a period of time. I've been on art committees but I think it's really important to give back to the community and in this field. And I want to get involved. I was state president for a long time, and now I'm that again. But I think it's important for me to make sure that my staff follows along in my footsteps so that they get the same experiences that I've been able to get. And you learn so much when you're on a board.
Absolutely. And the relationship between everybody is outstanding, especially on the NADL, I think.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to make a difference. That I think everybody on the board does, but I think it's really important to contribute and make sure that we're moving forward. I mean, I think that this is the most exciting time that dental laboratories have had. I've always loved the field, obviously, but with the changing atmosphere, it's quite exciting.
What do you mean by changing atmosphere?
Well, the digital era, I mean, it's completely different, and, what we can provide for the patients now is so amazing to me. And it's made our lives much easier to a certain extent, but harder in other ways.
Yep.
Meaning, being able to do the CAD CAM and the milling and the printing is all exciting, and you can duplicate what you can do. So the diagnostic work of that is amazing. We're now taking pictures and putting it into the 3 shape and building everything in the 3 shapes. We don't have to have the face bow anymore.
Yeah.
And then we can show that to the patients and, be able to duplicate. They can do their temporaries and we can duplicate that and, have that exactness that we need. So I think it's just only gotten more exciting.
I agree. I think it's an exciting time to be in this industry, and I'm happy to be a part of the NADL, and I'm glad to see you on the board also. I think it's going to be a fantastic time.
I think so too.
So you mentioned that you're president of the Ohio Dental Lab Association.
Indeed.
So tell me about that. I participate a little bit in the Association of Indiana Dental Laboratories. So tell me, how does the Ohio Dental Laboratory Association work? Is there a lot of labs involved?
Just like all associations, we have difficulties in getting people to get involved. But right now we have around 35 members. But one of the things that I am doing, and I'm sure you were going to ask me anyway, is the legislation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are working really hard to get registered in Ohio. And I'm hoping that all states will do it. It's really important that we get this accomplished, in my opinion. But just recently, we had a meeting in downtown Columbus, and I had 30 labs show up, which was really exciting. We have hired a lobbyist to help us through our legislation. And for us, it was really important to do that. The Ohio Dental Association, the Dentist Association, is not for us becoming registered, which does not make any sense to me at all. I have spoken to my study clubs. Everyone in the study club is for it, but the Dental Association is fighting us. So I had to hire a lobbyist to help us through this because they have deep pockets that they have given, the legislation.
Sure.
But it's a process, and I've had a lot of successes and we're having some setbacks, but I'm determined that this will happen. I've met with all kinds of representatives, senators. We've gotten our bill together. We're hoping to get it introduced soon. We've had a little setback, but my lobbyist is helping us work through that. And I'm continuing to work with the ODA. I'm having all of my dentists write letters to them to explain how important this is. And the majority of dentists want this. Most dentists don't even understand that we're not registered.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. But the meeting that we had downtown was really quite something because the excitement in the room was the best I've ever seen for our association in a very long time. So I had the lobbyist there and he explained the whole process, and it is quite a process. And they could ask questions and they could understand the process. The last thing that we needed is for somebody to show up at the State House, in our field that was against this, right?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Because, if they didn't understand what we were trying to do. So that all worked out fine. And then after that, we did the roundtables like we do at Visions 21. And everyone loved it. We had all the different topics and they could talk to one another and learn all the different things that are going on. In all honesty, the excitement in that room was amazing.
Sure.
It was beyond my expectations. And so I think we have a good way of continuing this and getting more people involved. And if the registration does happen, I think more people will get involved, which is going to be a great thing. So I think it's time that we really start working together. This race to the bottom is not good for any of them.
No, it definitely isn't. So let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
You feel that labs should be regulated. Who would regulate the labs?
It's the Ohio State Dental Board. Just like most regulation in the world, it's like, the dentists are regulated, the hygienists have to do certain things.
Yep.
I mean, it would be just like that.
So why do you feel that it's important that labs are regulated?
Well, I think several reasons. First of all, I think there needs to be an accountability. We are making medical devices that go in people's mouths, and there is no accountability. And half the time you don't know where some of these laboratories are located. There was an incident in Ohio that, made the news, and I received an email because I was president of the association, and there were pictures of a laboratory that was disgusting. Do you remember
I do remember seeing those, yes.
It was really bad.
Yeah, I almost thought it was staged when I first saw it.
I know. When I got these pictures, it scared me. I'm like, why am I being sent these pictures? I'm like, oh my gosh. So then the media, the interviewer, got in contact with me and we talked through it. They came to my laboratory and took pictures. And people, they want to know that their products that are going in their mouths are coming from a place that is worthy, correct?
Sure, yeah.
So there needs to be an accountability. And when you have a race to the bottom, which we're in, I think good people sometimes do bad things. The accountability, everyone's trying to make a living. I think the most of us are above board, but you've got bad actors out there.
Yep.
And we're talking about, you can hurt someone by doing things that are, especially with the implant. And that's the fastest growing part of our industry right now. There are people doing things with implants that might necessarily not be correct. And that can, 20 years from now, this person's 10 years from now, whatever it is, it can hurt the implant itself. And I think we need to be accountable and make sure that our patients and our dentists are receiving what they need to receive.
So why aren't labs that are already a certified dental laboratory, why is that not good enough?
Well, because I think the dentists don't take charge of that. They don't even know what a CDL is for the most part.
They don't care.
They don't. Well, I hate to go that far, but they probably don't. But I think that we've been treated like the stepchildren of the dentistry world. And I think it's time we take control of it ourselves and make sure that we're not stepchildren anymore. We need to take our own accountability and make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing. I think the majority of us are, and the bad actors bring us down and keep our prices low and, cut prices. And it's ridiculous. My funniest thing that I've always said, most of us, we get this phone call from a dentist. We don't know who this dentist is. And we have a pickup for you. And we just kind of drive out there and we pick it up. We don't even know if we're going to get paid for it most of the time.
No,
most of the
not
time
yet.
It works out. But, what field does that? Or, background checks. Do we do them? Do we know that this dentist? It's really kind of comical in a way.
It really is.
Or the delivery cost is another one. Is like, everyone says that it's built into their cost, but when some people are getting, as low as $59, how is that built into the cost?
It's pretty amazing. It really is.
It's crazy.
So what's the benefit to a lab that they want to be regulated?
I think the accountability. I think it's going to make us part of the dental team instead of the stepchildren. I think that it's going to pick us up to say that we are a viable industry and that we care about what we do. I eventually think that it's going to make our field a lot better, as to what we can produce. I just think it's important that we have that regulation.
Well, I agree. And as a CDL, it would be a pretty easy transition for us. And I imagine any CDL or DOMIS lab would be very easily translated into being regulated, correct?
Correct. And, we're under the FDA, and with the NADL, we've been talking about what the FDA and the regulation that they're going to put on us. And that could be quite costly.
Yeah.
The $4,000, almost $5,000. If we don't take control of it now, we could get stuck into a situation that will put a lot of us out of business. That's a yearly cost, not just one-time cost. So, yeah, and I think if we take control of it ourselves, that's going to help that situation. I think, interestingly enough, they were saying, well, why is it we have to be regulated when we were doing them by hand, we weren't regulated? But I think right now, implants are the fastest growing industry, and we're doing a lot more of them, and they do need to be correct. And just milling them out of whatever some people are milling at them could hurt someone. So I think we need to take control of it ourselves.
I agree. What's the fear of labs having to pay to be regulated by state? Is that a concern that you hear?
No, it's about $200.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the state dental board would have to set that fee, but all the other states that are regulated, their costs are $200 or less.
What other states are regulated? I know Florida is one.
There's 7. So there's Florida, South Carolina. I can't name them all right off the top of my head, but there's 7 that are getting there. And Oregon almost did it, as I think you heard as board member. Their bill was the next in line, and then they ran out of time.
Yeah, that blows my mind that because someone took a long lunch, a bill doesn't pass, but I don't understand.
Well, you'd be surprised. What I have found in Ohio, too, it doesn't make sense. It's not something that works like the real world does. So, we're fighting time also, and having the ODA against us. They won't even have meetings because they're trying to run the clock out.
Why do you think they're so against it? What do you think their fear is?
That we've been asking them that, and they won't give us a true answer. Deep down, I think they're afraid their prices are going to go up. When I started my business in 1979. The dentist used to take the lab bill in and charge 3 times.
Yeah.
Today, it's 10 times.
Oh, I know. It's changed a lot in just 10 years. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly.
I wonder what we could do to convince the dentists that it wouldn't raise their prices, but would make for a better product.
The data shows that it doesn't. And the NADL has helped me with that. So all the other states, their prices have not gone up. In general, I think my opinion is what's going to happen. This race to the bottom is going to put enough dental laboratories out of business that eventually those that survive will raise their prices and more people will get back into it. I think CAD/CAM will do the same thing. But at some point in time, it's got to hit rock bottom, and they've got to be able to get the work done and in a responsible way. So I don't, in the next few years, it'll be interesting.
It will be. So what can other labs do, not just in Ohio, but in their own state to promote this, to promote the regulation, because I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yes, and hopefully we're a good candidate to. I'm going to try to put a playbook together for other states to do the same thing. But the association needs to start it, obviously, and there needs to be somebody there that will put the time into it, because it does take time. But you start the process, and the bills are already made for you. NADL helped me with that, and so. And it's minimum, but we're baby steps are good.
Sure.
So the associations kind of started, and then you have to have people that are willing to do it. So we need more labs to contribute money, because this is getting drawn out a little bit longer than we had hoped for, but that's what legislation does. So you have to be able to contribute some money to help put some skin in the game. You need to be able to get to the state house, when committees are there, so that the support is there. And then even in your own district, if you could go and talk to your representative and explain the situation. Every lawmaker that I've talked to is for the bill. They can't believe that we aren't regulated in some way, or registered.
Yeah.
At least, so that they, there's an accountability. So I haven't had any problems with, after I've gotten in front of the legislators to say, this is what we're doing, it's all agreed upon. But again, the process just has to happen, and it takes time. And
is that what the lobbyist is for?
Oh, yes. I could not have gotten myself in front of all of these people without him.
Interesting.
And he's been great. But yeah, they know the system. I have to tell you, when I first started this, I had a girlfriend who was a lobbyist, and I met with her, and it kind of got drawn out, and she could no longer do it. She worked for a firm where there were conflicts of interest. So she put me in touch with this other lobbyist firm, and he's been great. But they know the system. What I was going to say is, it kind of annoyed me that I have to pay to play.
Yeah.
I'm a person that I'm just such an idealist. I'm like, really? I have to pay to do something good?
Yeah.
But after I got over that, I could not have put myself through the process and keep it going like the lobbyist has done for me.
So what do you predict? When do you think everything's going to start playing out?
It's going to be a little bit longer, because there's just a few complications that happen that I don't want to talk about right now, but it might have to go to the lame duck session in November. So it might take that long.
So November is when we'll get an update on what's happening.
No, I'm still working it. I'm meeting with the lobbyists a lot. But we need to get the bill introduced first, and then that takes time. Then it has to go through committee, both the House and the Senate. I've got some really good people working for me, and it's been a great experience in that respect. I also have the gentleman who was the investigative reporter, who is willing to put things on the media out there.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm convinced that somehow this is going to happen. I'm just an optimist.
Well, I think it's great. I'm excited for you. I want to start working to see what I can do here in Indiana. I think it's a good cause, and I'm happy to see you fight the fight. And I think I need to go back and learn Government 101, because a lot of this is confusing to me.
Well, and I didn't know it either. But I have to say, I've obviously been doing this a long time, and this just brought a different aspect into my life, and I've enjoyed it. As frustrating as it is, it's a new process, and you learn things along the way. So it's been kind of fun, and I've met new people along the way, so it's great.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
If you buy me a drink, I'll sit down there and tell you how to get started.
I think it's a great idea. I'm excited for you. I want to learn more about it. I heard you speak about it a bit in Chicago this year, and I was just trying to wrap my head around everything. But I'm excited to learn more. I hope you keep us all updated.
It's like I said, hopefully it'll all happen, and then we'll move to Indiana.
There you go.
Get that going.
Yeah, we're welcome to have you. We'll start a picket line together. It'll be fun.
I've been in picket lines before.
Somehow I don't doubt it. Lonni, thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. I really hope everything goes well with your fight for regulation, and I hope all the other states follow suit. I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thanks, Elvis. It was a pleasure. Like I said, my first podcast.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be on the board with you. I'm excited that we're going to hopefully shake some things up together
Indeed.
and make the best out of the time we're on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elvis. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
All right. I appreciate Lonni Thompson joining us. Hope we get some updates on her government fight to get regulation in her state. And hopefully other states will follow suit. I really think it's a neat idea, and I think it's time our industry gets recognized for what it does.
Well, when she speaks, we stand up and pay attention. So good luck, Lonni.
Absolutely. Hey, just real quick, I want to remind everyone that June is Dental Technicians and CDT Month. So congratulations to everybody.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that.
I highly suggest that everybody go find a dental technician and a CDT and give them a big hug.
Or $100.
Or $100
bucks. $100.
That would be much appreciated too.
Or a shot of Fireball, because what we do is extremely stressful. It's gratifying, but stressful. But yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that. So congrats to everybody out there.
Hey, appreciation to everyone in our industry. You deserve more than a month, but we're happy to give you June.
Touche.
Remember, everyone, spread the word, share with your friends and colleagues. Voices from the Bench. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and also straight from Voices from the Bench. And if you get a chance and you use the Apple Podcast, give us a review. You can give us 5 stars. You can give us less. I don't know why you would, but give us 5 stars. Write a review. Let us know how we're doing.
Tell me I cuss too much. I talk too much of alcohol and alcoholic beverages. And Elvis has to put up with me because he's the dream child on this whole thing. And I'm just the sidekick. But honestly, give us a review. Tell us how we're doing. Let us know if you like it and what else we can add to it. We're open to suggestions.
And remember, we're always looking for good people to interview or good roundtable topics. So send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or hit us up on Facebook. We're always there. We're always available. Like our page if you haven't liked it already.
All right. Well done. See you next week, everybody. Thanks for listening.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Don't put that on there.